So today we're diving into a figure who is, well, his fingerprint is just everywhere on the modern United States.
Absolutely everywhere.
We're talking about Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the Declaration of Independence, designed his own incredible home, and, oh yeah, doubled the size of the country when he was president.
He was an architect, an inventor,
Hmm.
a president.
Yeah.
But what's so fascinating is how he used his commitment to science and education to literally shape the country.
He really believed that for a democracy to work, its citizens had to be knowledgeable.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack where that came from. He was born in 1743 in colonial Virginia.
Right. On a huge plantation.
Yeah.
But it was his father who really pushed him.
His father was a map maker, a surveyor.
Yep, a man who understood land. And he taught young Thomas two things: the value of hard work and, maybe more importantly, the need for a really good education.
And Jefferson took that very seriously. He went to the College of William and Mary.
And he didn't just coast through. He dove deep into science and mathematics, devouring history and philosophy on the side. This made him incredibly effective.
How so?
Well, he became a lawyer, but his reputation wasn't for loud, fiery speeches. It was for his writing.
Ah.
His arguments were just so clear, so logical. The writing itself was clean, effective, really hard to argue with.
You can see that connection to his background, too. He had this deep love for the American landscape.
He did. And because of that, he believed that farmers, the people actually working the land, were the nation's most important citizens.
The moral backbone of the country.
That's the perfect phrase for it. That and his other core belief that education was the only thing that could protect the country from a corrupt government.
And this all leads him right into the revolutionary moment. It's 1776. Things with Great Britain are at a breaking point, and Jefferson gets chosen to write the document explaining why.
The Declaration of Independence.
And when you read it, the ideas are still so powerful. He wasn't just listing complaints.
No, he was laying out a whole new philosophy for how a country should be run.
The big ones, of course, are that all people are created equal.
And that they have certain rights that can't be taken away, rights like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
But maybe the biggest idea, the one that really defines democracy, is that a government only gets to exist if the people give it permission.
The consent of the governed.
Yeah. It means power comes from the citizens, from the bottom up, not from a king at the top.
Which was just a staggering idea for the 18th century. It challenged centuries of tradition.
And he worked on that text tirelessly.
Yeah.
Of course, he had help from people like Benjamin Franklin and John Adams to polish the final version.
But beyond the Declaration, there was another piece of writing he was incredibly proud of.
Religious freedom.
Yes, the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom.
Can you explain what that did? Because it was a huge change.
Before that statute, you could be forced to pay taxes to support the official church, even if you weren't a member.
So if you were a Baptist, you still had to pay to support the Anglican Church.
Exactly. And Jefferson argued that was tyranny. He believed your mind had to be free and that government had no business interfering with religion.
It sounds so normal to us now, but it was radical then. It's really the first step toward the separation of church and state in America.
A concept that became fundamental to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Okay, so we have the writer and thinker, but he also applied all that brain power to the physical world.
You sure did. As a builder and an inventor.
And there's no better example than his home, Monticello.
His lifelong project. He spent almost 40 years designing it, tearing parts down, rebuilding it. It was his personal laboratory.
It sits high on a hill in Virginia. And it wasn't just a house, it was an experiment.
A working farm, too. He was always trying out new plants and seeds, many from Europe. And he kept these incredibly detailed records of everything.
Like what?
Oh, daily weather, temperature, rainfall, how fast his vegetables were growing. He was obsessed with data.
And his love for science went way beyond the garden. He was always looking for a better way to do things.
The perfect example is his plow. He didn't just use a plow. He invented a better one.
The mold board plow. What was different about it?
So the mold board is the curved part that turns the soil. Traditional ones had a lot of friction. Jefferson used mathematics calculus, actually, to design a new shape that cut through the soil with less resistance.
So it was just more efficient?
Way more efficient. It shows how he applied really high-level thinking to everyday problems.
And you could see that inside his house, too. He had a swivel chair, a revolving book stand, so he could have multiple books open at once.
And he had a polygraph.
Not a lie detector?
No, not a lie detector. It was a machine that made a copy of a letter as he was writing it. Think of it like a 19th century photocopier. It saved him so much time.
He was also into paleontology, the study of ancient bones.
Yep. And he collected scientific instruments, telescopes, special thermometers. He was always trading letters with scientists across the world.
Which brings us to his library.
Oh, his library. He once said he couldn't live without books.
And his collection was huge, over 6,000 volumes.
On every subject you can imagine. Law, science, philosophy, history, in several languages. It was probably the best private library in the country.
And this leads to that famous story. During the War of 1812, the British burned Washington.
And the Library of Congress was destroyed. The entire collection, gone.
So what did Jefferson do?
He offered to sell his entire personal library to the government to restart it. Those 6,000 books became the new foundation for the Library of Congress we have today.
An incredible act. Okay, let's pivot to his time as president. He becomes the third U.S. president in 1801.
Right, after a very, very close and difficult election against John Adams. He served 2 terms.
And his goals as president were pretty straightforward. He wanted a smaller government.
Less spending, lower taxes. He believed the national government should have very limited power over the states and individuals.
He was also known for being really informal, right?
Very. He would sometimes greet guests, even foreign diplomats, at the executive mansion wearing his slippers. He hated all the formal ceremony.
But then comes the biggest event of his presidency, something that was anything but simple.
The Louisiana Purchase.
An enormous deal. In 1803, Napoleon in France needed money for his wars.
So he offered to sell the entire Louisiana territory, this huge stretch of land west of the Mississippi River.
And when you say huge, you mean it.
I mean, it doubled the size of the United States overnight for about $15 million.
Which was a total bargain, even then. But this was a problem for Jefferson, wasn't it?
A huge problem. He believed the government should only do what the Constitution specifically says it can do. And the Constitution says nothing about the president buying a massive piece of foreign land.
So he had a choice. Stick to his principles or seize this incredible opportunity for the country.
He chose the opportunity. He argued that securing that land for future generations of American farmers was more important. It was a pragmatic choice that shaped the future of the continent.
Now that they owned all this new land, they had to figure out what was actually out there.
So he organized the Lewis and Clark expedition.
The Corps of Discovery. Their mission was to find a water route to the Pacific Ocean.
Right. And also to map the territory, study the plants and animals, and document everything they saw. They were scientists as much as they were explorers.
It was an incredibly difficult journey. It took over 2 years, covered thousands of miles.
And they couldn't have done it alone. They relied heavily on help from various Native American groups to survive and navigate.
Misakagawea.
Absolutely. When they came back, they brought journals and maps that completely changed America's understanding of the West. It was a massive success for Jefferson's vision.
So after his presidency, he doesn't just retire quietly. He starts another major project.
His commitment to education never stopped. He designed and founded the University of Virginia.
And he didn't just write a check. He was the architect. He designed it as an academical village with the rotunda at the center.
He wanted students and professors to live and learn together, constantly exchanging ideas. And he wanted it to be a public university, open to anyone, free from religious control.
This brings us, though, to the most difficult part of his story, the deep contradiction.
Yes, he wrote that all men are created equal.
And yet he was a lifelong slaveholder.
He owned hundreds of enslaved people throughout his life. It's the central complex reality we have to face when studying him.
The work at Monticello, the farming, the cooking, the building, it was all done by enslaved men and women.
That labor is what allowed him to live his life as a thinker, a politician, an inventor.
Did he ever write about this contradiction?
He did. He wrote about slavery as a moral wrong and worried about what it would do to the country, but he never found a way to free the majority of the people he enslaved.
It's a stark reminder that we have to look at these figures as they were. Complex, flawed people who built a nation on ideals they didn't fully live up to themselves.
The fight for those ideals, for liberty and equality, was left incomplete.
His death. The timing is just unbelievable.
Thomas Jefferson died on July 4th, 1826.
Exactly 50 years to the day after the Declaration of Independence was signed.
He remains one of the most important figures in American history. His face is on Mount Rushmore, on our money. His ideas about rights and education are still at the core of our democracy.
So he left this incredible foundation for the country, but also this profound question. can a democracy founded on such inspiring ideals ever fully resolve the contradictions of its own beginning?
It's a tension we're still grappling with today. Good luck with your studies.